Yay, 7-star bricks. This set is so massive I can barely fit it in the camera. It's the Mould King Millennium Falcon, set 21026, ages 14 plus, 12,688 pieces. This is by far the largest set I have ever built. It's all just kind of black. Yeah, it's really not much there. Got a little code on the side here. I guess we can scan some manufacturing information. Made in China. I don't think there's nothing on the bottom there. Inside that massive box is two smaller boxes, which you've probably seen if you watch the unboxing video. It's on the playlist here. Got a handy dandy banker's box to help unpack this. So, there's two instruction manuals here. There's one, there's two, and just a ton of bags. 8, 20. Oh my God, there's so many bags. And I like these banker's boxes because I will never get these back in here again. 24. Oh, here's a bunch of plates. Ooh, bag 2. Keep that one out. And some more plates. 1B. Oh, here's the radar dish. That's cool. 4, I guess we'll keep that out. 34, probably not gonna need that for a while. 3, let's keep that out. Oh, more, there's a little Mould King tool. I love those. Some more plates. TY and Mould King is a common bag, so this is going to be a bunch of the same parts. So I'll dump these into little containers. See, we got black pins in there. We got one plates. Here's our random Batman minifigure. Bag 11. So I guess, these are really heavy. Like really heavy, like weighted Lego bricks. These must be for the stand. These also must be for the stand. Those are clear. 18A. So I don't think the bag is really split between steps, or the boxes rather. Here's 9. 27. 5. Oh, here's 1A. 18B. Yeah, so you're gonna have to open both boxes to get all the bags you need to start. I'll go ahead and finish sorting this here. Take a quick look at the instruction book here. So this is A, and then we've got a B one. I appreciate that they put it in this format, unlike the knockoff Lego UCS, which is in like a really long spiral bound notebook kind of thing. It's really hard to deal with. I also love that Mould King tucks the stickers into the book so they don't get all messed up. Lego could take a page from their book here. Check that out. It's pretty nice. Some glossy paper. Nothing too fancy, but pretty nice. I like the shiny black. That's cool. All right. Here's our random Batman minifigure. I think this is, I don't know anything about DC. I think this is the Batman from Batman versus Superman. I've never seen that movie. I'm Batman. I'm Batman. Yep. I don't know why this isn't here, but cool. I don't know if Hero Toys stuck that in or if Mould King did or why that's in here, but all right, cool. Batman. There you go. All right, so this is near the end of bag 4, and I just wanted to show an example. So you build the stand in bag 2, bag 3 is the bottom turret area, and then bag 4 is a lot of plating, but you can kind of see you really have to hold the whole thing with one hand to stabilize it enough to stick these things on. It's very wobbly while you're trying to build this. I don't know, is it necessarily is gonna break the Technic parts underneath there, but you see if I push this on with one hand, look how much that wobbles. So I kind of been studying it with one hand on the bottom and pressing the plates on the top. But that gets tiring after a while, especially when all of bag 4 has been all of this plating. So something to note. I guess it's not necessarily a bad thing. It does suck that you do the stand in the second step, but then, you know, you've got all this stuff on the bottom. How would you put this on before the stand? Or, you know, if you did this last, then you have everything built on the top. So I guess it's not really there's no ideal way to do it, but just be aware that when you're building it like this, man, this thing just moves around quite a bit. It's a wobbler. It's a wobbler. And unlike the King sets, Mould King has the correct ingot pieces here. Oh, nice. Don't have to replace those. All right, so there's a little bit of a problem area here. This back right corner, I assume is the back right corner, maybe the front left. But anyway, this corner, if you come back here where you're putting all this stuff in, there's nothing in here, right? So way back in step 43, you can see that's empty. And then we go to step 44, and you cover that with plates. The issue is that this plate does not come to this edge. So it only has these 2 rows of studs over here holding it up. And if you press down, it wants to go down. And so now we've connected a whole bunch of stuff to that plate, but it doesn't want to stay level with this plate because nothing is holding this plate up. You see where this is here? This goes here, right? And there's nothing holding that end up. So when you press it down, it goes in, it pushes out from under the stuff that's over here. It's just a problem area. That's poor design or poor redesign. I'm not sure if that's Mould King or the original designer. But we're going to just come in here and place that. And place that. There we go. Now, this is going to bridge those 2 bricks. And so when you press down on this, it's not going to get shoved into that void underneath it. And now these bricks will connect on there solidly. There we go. So that might be a change that you want to consider on this set. I don't know why they left that empty, but because that plate does not connect to anything, every time you put something here, it wants to break and go down in there, and I'm tired of it already. I just completed bags 7 through 10, and I wanted to talk about this for a minute before I forgot by the end of the filming, and I don't go over it. So I'm just going to touch on this before I forget building it. These are okay. I am having kind of an issue with the ramp on the right side of the Falcon over there. It doesn't want to go all the way up, and it doesn't pull out. So I'm hoping that issue will resolve itself further along in the build. If not, I'm going to have to come back and see what the heck is going on there. But other than that, I haven't really had any problems. This is I guess for me, surprisingly good build so far for Mould King. Again, not bashing Mould King. I really liked that Lego Harry Potter castle I built, but some of their Star Wars sets I've built have. Yeah, this is really cool. The only thing is, this engine part, you build this is a straight line. So this is on a hinge here. That's fine. But from here all the way over to here, you build in a completely straight line. And then you bend this entire thing to put it on here. And you bend it way more than you would think is possible. Because I swear to God, I thought this was going to explode by the time I finally got it on here. It's under quite a bit of pressure being bent in there. And then it's really like, I was happily surprised that it didn't explode overnight, but it's just pushed into the sides that were exposed here. There's the bricks are facing this way on the sides, and you just push that on to hold it there and push that on to hold it there. And then it's held on by 2 studs at the end of this part that was sticking out of the back. So it's really not held on by much. There's no pins or anything in there. I was like, please don't explode. Please don't explode. Please don't explode. It looks fantastic. I mean, this is even better than the engine mod for the UCS Falcon. That looks just fantastic. Let me see if I can get the camera down below the table level so you can see. That looks fantastic. That is definitely the best Falcon engine I have seen. I'm definitely going to have to get some cool like blue LEDs to put behind here to light that up once it's done, but that looks great. It's just, boy, that's scary putting that on there. You feel like it's gonna blow up in your hands when you're bending it. You're just bending it, and it's creaking. You're like, oh my God, please don't explode. But other than that, the build's going great. This stuff is really cool, like how it's all tiled in here. All right, so we completed bag 11, which is this assembly here in front of the outside portion of the engines. And you can see that that has caused the Falcon to tip drastically towards the rear end because that's where all the weight is now. Now, I don't see it in the instructions, but Mould King sent along these weighted Lego bricks. And one of them broke open, so you can see there's actually just a part of a metal rod in there. I don't know if that's lead or some sort of steel, but there's actually a metal rod inside these weighting them down. And I think I'm going to stick some just on the front here because I went to turn this and the whole thing wanted to fall over. I caught it, but yeah, that's interesting. So let's weight down the front of the stand maybe a little bit so that it doesn't crash on its own overnight when I'm not in here. That would be bad. That is definitely a drawback to building it on a stand because all that weight is on the back end. I highly recommend doing the first step from bag 12, even if you're going to take a break after bag 11, because when you put this on the little outcropping that comes out from the back here, I had that long Lego piece that sticks out that the engine's pinned to the back of. When I put this on, the engines kept popping off that. And then I would put the engines on, and this would pop off that. So I got them both on, but this really sticks them both together with this piece here. So I would recommend doing that right away, even if you need to take a break after bag 11, just so that stops the engines or this other part from popping off that so much. And here we go with the impossible mock instructions. Step 515. There is no way you are going to get a flex tube to stay in this position. It's not going to happen. It's going to do this over and over and over. You are either going to have to glue them down there, or you're going to have to get a heat gun and use it on that flex tube to get it to permanently change its shape to what they want, because that ain't going to happen. It's just going to keep doing that over and over. All right, so I'm probably going to have to fix some stuff on the top, and hopefully I don't break anything, but it is impossible to put this stuff on the bottom, trying to work from here to the table and put this stuff on the bottom. I've got a giant plate here that needs to go under part of this and then push up into there, and it's not going to go on if this isn't upside down. This is just too hard to do it that way. All right, here's what we put on the back. And now you're going to watch as I attempt to flip this back over. and not completely destroy it. Oh, it's coming. There it goes. We only had one thing really fall off, except it is so rear heavy now that it will not stand on its own without something holding it up. So now you can see me desperately searching for something to stick under the rear end to keep it upright and not have it crash onto the desk. Where can we put these? Oh no! There's a couple more things I want to note. Building bag 15, step 684. These things do not, there's no friction there. They don't stay on there. They're not to spec, I think. So I'm going to have to glue these on here because they just fall off when I try to put this part on. And I want to mention, like, every bag, I'm on bag 15, and every bag has had at least 2 missing parts that I've had to dip into my spares to cover. That's a lot of missing parts for a $400 set. I know I criticize Lego when they do wrong, and Mould King, you need to do better. You need some better QA. You can't be missing 2 parts per bag. I don't cry and I don't ask for the parts because I got a lot of spare parts to cover it, but a lot of people don't. And for $400, that's pretty irritating. That would stop your entire build, every bag, where you go and request the parts that you're missing, only to get to the next bag and you find out you're missing at least 2 more. Do better, Mould King. Yeah, Mould King quality control on this set was just not there that day. But some of the issues that I'm having here, it looks great. Some of the issues, though, is that this obviously is going to bump up like that because it's not held tight by these clips here. It is supposed to lay almost flat, but you can pull it so it's almost flat, and it will either A, pop out of this, or B, it just does what it's doing now and it slides back through these grippies. So I'm probably going to have to glue it to one of these grippies. These both had to be glued into these grippies in order to bend like this. Otherwise, they just pop right out of those grippies because they're not that bendy. They're bendy tubes, but they're not that bendy. So unless you heat it up, this is probably the easiest way. Just super glue it into there so that you can bend them down into those holes like the instructions say. All right, I'm trying to film this review, and this is what I keep walking into my office every day and finding. Oh, here's the Falcon. Here's a piece that fell off on its own without it being touched. These are now skewed, even though nobody has touched them overnight. Oh, there's a gun piece that fell off all by its lonesome. There's a piece of the side for the stand that fell off all on its own overnight. So bear that in mind if you decide to spend money on this. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, space creatures of all sizes and shapes. So what you've been waiting for is the Mould King Millennium Falcon. The Millennium Falcon. It's the Millennium Falcon. Yeah. It's the Mould King Millennium Falcon. Here we go. So, I'm going to start off sort of like I started off after the build notes on the Mould King Razor Crest, which was the last Mould King, like big Mould King video I did. And we're going to start off with, are we having fun yet? I am filming this January 5th, 2024. And I started this, I don't know, I'll have to go back. Maybe I can edit in the date, but it was sometime in March 2023. I started this Mould King set like I start all Mould King sets. I was super excited at the possibility that this was going to be a fantastic build, super fun to build, can't wait to do it and get that review out to you guys. And then late May rolled around and I got busy on our farm and quite honestly didn't have the will to go on, and it took me forever to finish this thing. So no. Again, just like the Mould King Razor Crest, I started out super excited to build this. and that it took me forever to build it because I just lost the will to keep going. So no, we were not having fun. Now on to the review part, which, as you guessed, isn't going to be extremely positive. So this is a rather large model. Again, this is the largest building block set I have ever built. So we will go through it slowly here. This is the view from the front of the Falcon. And then let's go up and over here. Give you an overview of what she looks like all the way to the rear. And then we'll come around here to the side. Give you a side view of this massive, massive model. I am 6'3", by the way, just for size reference. When I'm standing behind it, I was directly behind it. And I've got a bunch of lights everywhere trying to get this thing lit up. It's just so big, it's hard to light the whole thing at once. This is the engine section on the back. Get a cool look. I'm going to block one of the lights. Let me get around to the other side here. Back, get a look at those engines there. The engines are really cool looking on this. And again, here's the top. You've got the radar dish on here. Here's the top. You've got the radar dish on here. You got the front forks. Here is the cockpit. And then we come around the other side to the back. And here is the bottom of the Falcon. Check this out. Oh yeah, don't mind those supports. We'll talk about those. Let's go around the other side on the bottom. You can see the quad laser cannons on the bottom. All right, this engine design is really cool. I do like it. It's probably up there with the replacement engines for the UCS Lego Millennium Falcon and or the knockoffs like I have. It does look really nice. There is a channel in there that you could put lights in if you wanted to. So that is super cool. It looks pretty cool. So I will give it that. It does look pretty cool. However, there are a lot of issues with this set. So let me start right off. I've already filmed some examples, but things just randomly fall off. This constantly just randomly detaches from the side, and I'll find it just hanging out to the side here. The quad laser cannons on the bottom here just fall off. I don't know why. There, oh, you can see one of the one of the tubes has come unclipped here. I largely found out that you kind of have to super glue them in certain places or they're not going to stay. So that's not ideal. There is a lot of detail on this set, and that is cool. However, there's also just a lot of issues with this set. My first major issue is this area here does not look great, and it doesn't line up super well. It's kind of hard. If you get this lined up here, then this is not lined up, and you kind of, I mean, I have kind of tried to move this around as best as possible to get stuff to line up, and there's just always going to be some massive gaps. It just doesn't sit together super well. And this thing is also a massive dust magnet. I can't tell you how many times I have dusted this thing off and I still see dust on it. It drives me insane. This right here is the ramp, and I am not going to pull it down because it will fall apart. That is just, yeah. There's a little thing here for your fingernail to catch so you can try to pull this down, but I'm not going to do it because it's going to fall apart if I do it. Trust me, I know from experience. All right, the second major thing you're going to see here, it looks like my camera isn't level. Well, it is. It's actually a gimbal. It is self-leveling. The problem is that the Falcon is not extremely level. So we're kind of tilted on one side a little bit, and this is kind of tilted up here, and this thing is kind of tilted here. Yeah, and it's I have tried to get it leveled. It just doesn't want to sit level. It's just kind of sitting there. Number 3, the bottom here, these two, that and that, those stick on, they're kind of stuck on upside down and with a 1-stud connection back here on the side. And if you bump the table hard enough, they fall down. These wings here on this side and this side, those rely on these being here to stay up. When these fall down, these kind of come down, and the whole thing is a massive pain in the butt to get back together. And yes, that is another thing that you will come downstairs and find just sitting underneath the Falcon, because they don't have great connections. These stands, right? So these mandibles on the front, they are not connected to the main body by a frame. So you do build a kind of frame in the front of the Falcon, and I'll show you when I take off the top. These don't have a very good solid connection to it, and they are heavy, and so they droop. And so you have to put these underneath them to hold them up so they just don't fall down. So that's terrible. The way the Lego one was designed, the whole thing had a frame, and so these don't really droop on the Lego one. Yeah. Let me try to get you in here. I really don't want to pull these things off because they're so fragile, but here we go. I'll try to do this with one hand. I just had surgery on my hand 2 weeks ago, so bear with me. This is very wobbly. If you drop it an inch, it's gonna explode. Ask me how I know. So be careful with that. There is a channel here, goes behind this brick, and then in front of these clear engine pieces here. So you can easily run a strip of LED lights through here to light those engines up. That's a kind of a cool design. Here is the cargo hold / engine room, I guess. What a piece of junk! Yes, yes, that is a very apt quote. The official Star Wars vehicle guide, if I can get this to not glare. Yeah, that's where the hyperdrive and the engines, apparently an escape pod, a rear freight elevator. Yeah, it's like a cargo / engine room there. All right, and we can take this plate off. This plate's okay. That one's pretty stable. You got another room here. Got some like couches you can lay down on. Little computer in there. That's pretty cool. We'll take the other side off here and try not to knock the Falcon over while I'm doing this. You have some more storage on this other side. This whole circular area with the quad lasers on the top here, this lifts off, straight off. Don't bump something. So you've got the window piece through there. And then you've got the quad lasers. They're not very posable. They kind of, you've got either straight up like this or, oh God, I fell over because I don't hold very well. So there's those. This is neat. So you've actually got in here the seat for Han Solo or Luke Skywalker or whoever. There's a little targeting computer here, and the seat they sit in that swivels around while they're shooting at the TIE fighters. That's pretty cool. There's a whole bunch of little computer sticker parts in there. I don't know if you can see that. This sticks on over here on the top of this. This area here, Mould King has stuff on top of these studs in the instructions. You can't put anything on top of those studs or this piece won't fit in here. And I tried and tried. It's just wrong. You can't fit in there. So whatever they changed from the original mock in the Mould King version, they screwed it up because that does not work. This part lifts off. I had to pause and use two hands to get it off because it's on there with a couple studs, but it's stuck pretty good. That lifts off. You can see there's a little area in there. There's not really anything in there, but I think that's the design philosophy of showing the whole interior. So all the little sections lift off so you can get at the inside. And coming around the other side here, I'm going to try to take this off without breaking anything. This side has a little wing that flips down in there. I'll see if I can get this off one-handed. There we go. And there you can see the ramp that I can't pull down because it just falls apart. It's in there. Here is the cockpit section. This just lifts off, obviously, because it's not even on there with anything. There's nothing, there's no studs or anything that hold that on there. It just sits on there. So there is the hallway that goes to the cockpit. This also lifts off, not held on by anything. That's just some random mechanical parts, gewgaws in there. The cockpit does not really, you can't really easily take this off. And I'm afraid I'm going to knock the whole thing over if I do. This part comes off on the front. Okay, so this, it kind of goes in here and it's held on by the front part of the cockpit. And then it connects to a couple of studs down here, but it's not easy to take off one-handed. Here is the cockpit. This is actually much better done than the Lego one, I think. You can fit 4 figures in there. It looks pretty decent. And then lastly, this whole piece comes off. You want to be really careful with this. These side wings fold down and it won't stop on its own. It'll just break right off there and drop on the ground. So be very careful when you lift that off. And then this is not attached on there very well, so that sometimes will just fall off on its own as well. And then you've got the front part of the Falcon. So obviously here's the super iconic hollow gaming table. You've got the computer sections in here. You've got the hallway going through here. Got some hallways back to the guns. I do like the way they did the padding on the inside. That looks really cool. Up front here, you've just got some cargo in the loading area. According to the guide, inside these mandibles, there's some arms to raise cargo up and put it in here, and then you're supposed to take it through the hallways into the back. So there you go. Got some cool engine details and stuff. Again, you've got to kind of super glue these on or they're not going to stick in there. They just pop out. So you can see the way they bend down there. That has to be super glued here or they just keep popping right out. There's a lot of places where you just need a dab of super glue for these. They use a lot of these flex tubes and the instructions for the flex tubes have you doing things with the flex tubes that they're never going to do unless you glue them down. So there she is, the Mould King Millennium Falcon. This whole section in here, a lot of stuff is nothing is actually, you know, tied down, just kind of sits here. This whole section is just built sideways and then pushed in here. It's not held in here by anything. But to get it back out, you'd probably have to destroy part of this. I guess I can't show you the way that this is on here, but these are built snot. You can see it's kind of sideways here. It's kind of splitting because of the weight, right? Because it's not a great design. And then under here is a row of Technic, and a row of Technic on the very back of the mandible section pins into that. And then under here, you've just got one L-shaped brick that pins the mandibles to a little section of Technic that comes out here. It is not stable. I mean, the mandibles they're not even and they're drooping. And if you were to take that stand out of there, it would fall on its own after a while. It can't hold up under its own weight. So while I attempt to put this back together without exploding it, because I have to do one more video for you guys with this, let's talk about the design. I know I went a little backwards from the last one where I talked about the design first, but when I'm reviewing these Mould King sets, keep in mind I am reviewing the set and the instructions and the design that Mould King sent me. I know Mould King bases these on someone else's design. In this case, I can't remember the designer's name, but it's a design available on BrickVault. If you think paying $80 for a PDF is fair, then by all means, go ahead and buy that design and compare it to this and tell us what you think the differences are. I know there are things on the other design that I've heard, bricks that go on the bottom of these plates that actually hold them in place so they don't just slip off like these would, because the original design will let you tilt it up to the side just like the UCS Millennium Falcon. This design, if you tilted it, everything would slide off the top and explode. So they definitely changed the design. This is Mould King's design. They've definitely made it worse. I don't know how the original one is, but I know the Mould King one is not great. So, but just keep in mind that I'm reviewing only the Mould King that came, because I don't have the original plans, because I'm not going to pay $80 for a PDF. But yeah, the Mould King design is bad. The mandibles don't hold up under their own weight. The whole thing would just tilt backwards without the mandibles on the front. That's why you've got to have all these clear stands on the back of it and the front of it. And yeah, it's not a good design. The other thing is it's not, you can see how much it's moving around just by me trying to press these parts back into place. And these just don't, the plates just don't fit very well on top. They leave a lot of gaps. The design is kind of, it's not great. Don't crash, I have one more video. Yeah, there's kind of a red brick you got to get between two other bricks in order to push this in-ish. Go. I forgot, this isn't on here very stably either, so when you're trying to press this front part back on, kind of hold the rest of it so it doesn't just break off. There we go. This has there are two cross pieces poking up here that have to go in Technic holes in the back. And sometimes getting it lined up is kind of a pain in the butt. And then again, just be very careful. I mean, you can see how this flexes. You got to be very careful with this piece when you're setting this on. It is not stable. Hopes and dreams, that's what holds it together. This is another part back here. These are, in the instructions, these are bent like that. How are you going to make these flex tubes stay like that? You would need a heat gun and a lot of fairy dust to keep that bent how it's supposed to be. And these are supposed to be bent as well. Somebody did that on a computer. That's not realistic. That's not going to happen in real life. Doesn't make any sense. I do like all the detail back here. I think it looks really cool. That's about all it's going is looks. if you don't touch it. Do you know what would have been better than this terrible central stand? Is if you just made the landing gear and it just stood on the landing gear. That would have at least made the whole model stable, because you would have had a bunch of points of contact instead of putting it on this janky thing. Can't bag on that design enough. Mould King just needs to stop. I mean, if you're gonna steal someone's design, just steal it. They're designing something for an IP they don't own anyway. They don't have any more rights to it than you do. But don't steal someone's design and then make a couple of stupid changes thinking no one knows now. Oh, that's totally different. You've made a couple of changes. Well done. It's the same design. You just made it 1,000 times worse. Quit it. All right, so you can find this gigantic set online from anywhere from about $300 up to about $450. I paid right around with free shipping from Hero Toys. Mine was like 370 something. I have seen them cheaper more recently. Keep in mind, I bought mine over just about a year ago now. It is over 12,000 pieces. It's like 12,600 some odd pieces. So it is a massive, massive set. But I have a hard time giving you a reason to buy this. It can look fairly cool. I think you would need to do more work on it to make it look better. I think there's a lot of problem areas where plates just don't line up very well. Nothing's holding these on. You would need to design something to hold it on. As it comes from Mould King, you are not going to be able to buy some sort of stand design or design one of your own and tilt it on the side like you can with the UCS Millennium Falcon. Everything will slide off and break. So you are stuck having this massive, massive set just sitting horizontally on something. You can't put it up on the side to save some space so you can put it on a shelf or something. This thing has been taking up this table for a while, for months, until I finish this and do these videos. So yeah, I cannot recommend this. I mean, it's a lot of money and it's going to take a lot of work to get it to a state where you're going to be happy with it. It's just too fiddly. It's too fragile. Things fall off all the time. I would save your money. Somebody someday will come out with a better set than this, but the Mould King set, it's not it. Maybe if you want to get all the base parts for the Brick Vault set and then buy their instructions on maybe sale, save 20 bucks, still $60 for a PDF for IP that you don't own the rights to. So yeah, I wouldn't buy it. I can't recommend this. Like I said, I was very excited to start building it. At first it was fun to build, but then it got to the point where you start putting stuff on the back and the whole model just sits like this on the stand and you got to prop the back up, and it just, for 370 bucks. No. I guess I got to tell you, if I could figure out a way to blow this up on camera without getting plastic all over the woods, I would do that, because I loathe this set. Just loathe it. It's not good. I don't like it at all. So there's my review. Sorry I can't be positive about these Mould King ones, but so far they've all kind of sucked. I mean, the AT-AT was okay, but again, the way it came, you're going to need to do a lot of work for it to stay together. The Razor Crest was crap, and this is crap. So maybe one day Mould King will surprise me. We'll find out. I've got the Mould King Super Star Destroyer already here in a box. It has been for months, just waiting for me to get space to build it, because I gotta get this thing out of the way first. But before we do that, stay tuned, because the next video is going to be me comparing the Mould King Millennium Falcon to the, well, it's not Lego because I can't afford $850 for the Lego UCS Millennium Falcon, but it's the knockoff Lego UCS Millennium Falcon. So we'll compare those two just like we did with the AT-ATs and the Razor Crest. That's it. That's all I got. I can't be enthusiastic because I already know the winner, but you'll get a video. I'll be more enthusiastic in that video. That's all I got for you guys. Once again, my name is Jay. Please give us a like and subscribe if you don't mind. It would help immensely. Leave a comment down below. We'll see you here in the next video.